song, Who You Say I Am. You know, so many times as we walk through life, it says, I am chosen and not forsaken. How many times have you and I felt like we've been forsaken? How many times have you and I felt like we've been just pulled down to the lowest of the lowest, and we just don't know where to go anymore? But you see, the Word of God says if you're a child of God, you are a chosen vessel. You are a peculiar person. We don't have to live in that forsaken life anymore. We don't have to live in that depressed life anymore, because God has made you something special. And this morning, if you'll give me just a few minutes, I want to talk to you a little bit about crossing over. And this title kind of come out of nowhere, but you'll see what I'm talking about. And if you have your Bibles, I'm going to be over in the book of Mark in chapter 4. And just to kind of give you a little bit of background of what's going on here, Jesus is actually in the middle of his ministry. He had done left he had done left his hometown over there, and one of the things, I think it's in the book of Matthew, you kind of have to go back to. But one of the things that he said in there is he said that a prophet is without honor in his own country. And it said that he couldn't even do miracles in his hometown. And that just, I don't know, that just kind of really got to me when I got to thinking about it and all. And I was praying about it, and I thought about what he was saying right there. And some of us, we all have a past, and some of our past may not be the greatest in the world. Some of them may be, a little rougher things we've done, the people that we hung around. And the problem is that so many people hang on to that past. When you bow down to Jesus and you say, Lord, take this away from me, he wipes that past away. He puts it away from you. He puts it behind you. He said, I created in you a new creature. I start you all over again. And the thing is so many people around us, they think about that past that they know you used to be. They don't see the person that you have become. And when I got to thinking about that, that's what made me think about the life that you and I live right now. When people start bringing that up as a child of God, that kind of starts bringing us down, does it not? That kind of starts putting us in a place that we don't need to go. That starts putting us in a place that, well, I'm fool with it if nobody believes me. And it starts getting us, pulling us down. And what I want you to see this morning, if you get nothing else out of all this, I want you to understand this morning, and I'm going to prove to you, God's still walking with you. He's got a plan for your life, and he's going to walk with you, and he's going to get you where you need to go. We can't worry about everybody else around. But the trick to it is, and I'm going to prove it to you, you got to put him first. So as we open our Bibles up to the book of Mark, and these first couple of verses, I just kind of throw in here for a little extra because I thought that was pretty good. They really don't even go along with the message this morning. But I read over them and I thought, my, how important this is to us. But starting there in 33, and it says, with many such parables spake he the word unto them, and they were able to hear it. But without a parable he spake not unto them. And when they were alone, he expounded all things to his disciples. And if you go back to the first part, you'll see that the Lord had just spoken the parable of the sower unto them. And what he was telling them there, he said, I give you these parables. Now, for those of you that may not know, a parable is an earthly story with a heavenly meaning. He was talking about a man sowing seed when he was or the story was about a man sowing seed, but it had a heavenly meaning of that falling to the ground being your heart and the seed being the word of God and how much you let it grow. But he said, I tell you these things so that you can understand what the Word of God is about. He said, I bring it to you this way. And then I like that very last part. It said, when they were alone, he expounded all things unto his disciples. In other words, when they got by themselves, he explained everything to them. Y'all didn't get that, did you? You see, church, God gives us parables. He gives us stories. He gives us things to read. And how many times have you picked up this Bible and you have read the Word of God, and when you got done you said, we've all been there. Now let me ask you this. He said when they were alone, he explained it to them. How many times when you started going, did you go to your prayer closet and say, Lord, show me what this means? And all of a sudden, ta-da! Y'all know what I'm talking about, don't you? You see, you and I, he gives us these parables, he gives us these ways of teaching, and then he brings it to us. And so a lot of times our little minds, we can't comprehend it, we can't get our head wrapped around it. But he said when we're alone, in other words, when you sit out and you talk to me about it, he said, I'm going to give you the meaning of it. And that's just like what happened right here. And we're going to get on into this crossing over. Church, I want to tell you right now, too many times we try to face this by ourselves when God says, all you got to do is bring it to me. He said, you want to get to heaven? I'm going to show you how to get to heaven. You don't know the past. You don't know what's going on. I want to show it to you. I want to give it to you. I don't want you to miss out and stand there and say, well, Lord, I didn't know. But he said, I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to break it down for you. It's as simple as saying, here I am, Lord. Make me who you want me to be. And so what we find here is after he explained that to them, he said in the same day when it was evening, then he said unto them, let us pass over unto the other side. Now they were sitting on the Sea of Galilee. If you go back and do a little more background, you will find out it was such a multitude sitting there that Jesus actually went out onto the ship to teach the multitude. He had to get out to a place that he could get up high enough so that everybody could see him and everybody could hear him, and so that he could teach this multitude. And then what did he do? It said when it was evening time. In other words, it was starting to get dark. And he said, let's go to the other side. Let's get out of here and let's go somewhere else. Let's move on from where we're at. I'm through right here. Now I'm going on to the other side. And when I thought about that, and y'all bear with me this morning, but when I thought about that, I thought about the life that I lived before I gave my life to God. You know, I was sitting there. I was walking amongst the multitude of the sinners. I was walking amongst everything in this world. And I had to decide one day, I'm ready to go somewhere else. One day, I'm ready to cross over. I'm tired of the life I'm living. I'm ready for more in my life than I've ever had before. I'm ready to give my life to God. He's called me out and I'm ready to give it to him and say, here am I, Lord. I'm ready to move on. I'm ready to cross over. I'm sick and tired of everything that I fought of my whole life living in this world. I'm sick and tired of the thing this world throws at me. I'm ready for something different. I'm ready for a new view. I'm ready for a new place. I want to cross over. I'll jump ahead just a little bit, but if you'll go into Mark chapter 5 there, it's not even up here. It said that they came into a country on the other side of the sea. It was into a country of the Gadarenes. And I had to look the name of that place up. But I want you to understand it was known as the Plain of the Prince is what it was called. Gennesaret. The Gennesaret was the place that they was heading. And the thing about Gennesaret, like I said, the name means the plain of the prince, or the plain of the fruitful, the plain of the plenty. And what it is this is a little spot. It's about 3 or 4 miles, I think it's west of Capernaum down there. And it's only about a 2 or 3 mile, square mile area here. And it is known to be the most fertile, the best ground in the country. There was actually one guy that defined it that said that the seasons never actually meet there because there is such a long time for harvest in this area. So what I'm telling you is, not only are we about to cross over, but we are about to cross over to the land of plenty. We are about to cross over to the land of milk and honey. We are about to cross over to a land of perfection. Church, I want you to know something. If this is all we had down here, Paul said we of all men would be most miserable. But he is looking for a people that is looking for a country that is more than what's on earth. So he tells us, he said, I want you to cross over. Oh, let's carry on. Verse 36, it said, when they had sent away the multitude. And I like that because it said they had to send the multitude away. When I got ready to give my life to God, I want you to know something. There was things and people in my life I had to send away. I know this ain't popular preaching, and I know this ain't, you said, preacher, this is Thanksgiving. You're supposed to pick us up. I'm trying to pick you up. I want you to get to heaven. I want me and you one day to shout up and down the streets of gold. But I want to tell you something else. There is things in this world that if you don't get them out of your life, it's going to hold you down here and send you to a devil's hell. He said you can't serve God and mammon at the same time. He said you're going to love one and despise the other. There's things in our life you and I have to get straightened up. We got to get rid of the multitude, get rid of the things of this earth so that we can cross over for God. We got to get it ready. You see, we got to get prepared. We got to get things prepared in our life if you want to live for Jesus. If you want to cross over, you want on the path to go to heaven, we got to get things ready for it. You ready to cross over? We got to get things ready for it. We got to do some cleaning up right here. We got to do it right here. Can't nobody help you do it. Can't nobody force you to do it. You got to get into these parables and then get along with God. Let Him explain them to you so that you can start getting it cleaned up right here. So you can say, Lord, I'm going to send that multitude away. I'm going to send that old life away. I'm going to start all over brand new. I'm ready to get in the boat with you. I'm ready to get in the boat with you. Because to cross over, you got to get in the boat. It said they had sent away the multitude. And I love this right here. And they took him. They took Jesus. What do you think about that? Even as he was. Even as he was. Now, I'm fixing to tell you something that some people ain't going to like. But y'all know me, I'm not real worried about that. He said he took him as he was. You see, too many times when we want to get on our road to heaven, we want to make Jesus what we want. Come on now. You see, we want to pull him down to our level. Lord, I've always done this. It's bound to be all right. That's not what he said. He said, if you want to get in a boat with me, you're going to take me as I am. You're going to take my word. You're going to allow me to lift you up into heaven. Quit trying to pull God down to earth and let him pick you up and set you into a new world. Let him set you into a new spiritual realm that you cannot even imagine. My God does not work in But too many times we want to take this right here. We want to twist these words around and make everything to where it fits our life today. We want to dig through here, find one verse here, one verse there. If you want to do that, I'll guarantee you I can find ice water in hell out of here. But when you take this Bible word for word, when you take the parables for what they mean, when you take a man named Jesus for exactly who he is, exactly what he done, exactly what he did for you, oh, let me tell you something, then you're going to be in a boat of safety. He said they took him just like he was. They didn't ask him to do that. They didn't even ask him to take a bath. They took him just exactly the way he was. How many times have you and I tried to pull him down to be what we want him to be? You see, we find excuses for everything in our life. We find excuses. And I'm going to tell you something else. Like I said, this ain't a popular morning. I didn't know it was going to go this way, but that's all right. Let me tell you about an excuse. Y'all ready for it? An excuse is what you tell yourself for exactly what you know is wrong. Y'all get that? So when the preacher calls you and says, hey, why wasn't you here on Sunday morning? Well, you know, yada, yada, this, yada, yada, that. See, you know you done messed up. Amen? Come on now. And what you're trying to do is you are trying to bring God down to your level. Instead of saying, Lord, pick me up. I'm ready to cross over. I'm ready to get away from the things of this world. I'm ready to get away from the heartaches, the troubles, and the trials. I am ready to have someone walk with me. Instead we say, Lord, come on down here. Come on down here with me. We got to take him just the way he is. You see, the Bible tells us he's the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. So when you try to change him, guess what? It don't work. I tell you, y'all have jokes. There's this old man, this old woman, they've been married like 50 years. They was driving down the road in the truck. This old man was sitting over there driving, his wife was sitting over there. She kind of leaned across the seat there and gave him a little peck on the cheek while he was driving down the road. She said, honey, she said, you remember the days? And she kind of slid across the seat. She said, you remember when we used to ride like this? Y'all used to do that, didn't you? Couldn't tell who's driving, don't have a clue. She said, you remember them days? The old man said, yeah. She said, I wonder what happened. He looked at her and he said, well, look who moved. Everybody still going, huh? Only one person in that move. You see, God's still driving. God's still driving. The day you got saved, it was that honeymoon, it was all over and all next to it. And what did you do? You start sliding over. But guess who moved? We got to carry on. We got 15 more verses. Take him even as he was in the ship. There were also with him other little ships. And there arose a great storm of wind and the waves that beat into the ship, so that it was now full. Now the Sea of Galilee was very well known for its storms and the way that they come up. And one of the things that I found really interesting is it said the Sea of Galilee could have the perfectly clear sky and there'd be a storm come through. So it was well known for the storms to come up. But it said that there was a great storm of wind. And one of the things, the word that was used here, it believed that it was a wind and rain that come upon this boat. And it said that it was now full. Now, I don't know exactly exactly if they're talking about filling up with water to a certain level, which is what most people believe they were talking about. But the boat was facing a storm, and when I thought about this, the thing I thought about is how many times in life do you and I face a storm? You see, we done got in the boat here. We have got in the boat with Jesus now. We are riding across life's troubled sea with Jesus in the boat with us. Now, there is going to be storms you and I are going to face. There's going to be troubles and trials that's going to come up. Some of them's going to be big. Some of them's going to be huge. There's going to be times that you're going to think this boat is going to sink. The Bible said they said it was full. In other words, the waves was coming in on it. The rain was filling it up. It was probably just looking dreary as far as everything that a shipman could think of. And I thought about the storms of life that you and I face. I thought about the times that you and I have looked and said, why go on? How many times have we got to the point that we have lost hope? How many times have you and I got to the point it just seems like the world around us is falling down. Everything is coming up on us. We're getting hit from one side to the other, one right after another. It seems like storm after storm after storm after storm keeps blowing our way. It just seems like that everything in life is fighting us. Y'all ever been there? Y'all ever been down that road? Well, let me show you first what not to do. Verse 38, it says, and he was in the hinder part of the ship asleep on a pillow. And what you'll find out in these ships, in the stern of the ship back there, they had an extra little spot that was for designated guests, I guess is the way to put it there, that had a little pillow for him to sleep on and all that. And Jesus was down there. In other words, he was a guest, he was a special guest upon on that ship, and he was down there resting, if you will. It said, and they wake him and saying to him, Master, carest thou not that we perish? Oh, Lord, help me this morning. You see that word it said, carest thou not that we perish? They lost faith. Y'all with me? They lost faith. You see, they had seen the miracles Jesus had done. They had seen the things that he had done in the past. They had seen how much power he had in his life. They had seen the things with their own eyes. But then when he's even in the boat with them, they're saying, Master, do you not care that we perish? They have lost their faith in what Jesus can do. And when I read that, I thought, my, how many times have you and I, while we're trying to cross over, did we lose our faith in whether Jesus can handle our situation? You see, the storms of life come up on us. They hit us hard. A lot of times the old boat is getting filled up. But church, I want you to know something. Jesus has sealed that boat off. It's kind of like the boat Noah was in. When you put Jesus in it, it's a special boat. It's not just any boat. And you can't lose faith in it. But so many times, what do? Well, why do I want to bring that to him? He ain't worried about that. Why do I want to ask him? Or we just go off and we forget about asking him. In other words, we start losing faith in Jesus guiding our path. And it's so easy to give up on him. It's so easy for us to get that way. It's so easy when you face the storms of life, when you face troubles in life, that's exactly the thing that we do, is we give up on Jesus. You say, preacher, I don't know about that. All right, let me ask you this. Nobody raise their hand. I don't want no embarrassments. How many people read one chapter every day this week? what's that matter? How do we learn? Through parables. Where's the parables? In the book. You see, when we don't pick it up, what are we doing? We're putting other things in front of it. You said, preacher, what are you talking about? I'll guarantee you watched some kind of sports game this weekend. Some people watched Tennessee last night. I don't know why, but they did. God will forgive them, though. He knows I like to pick on him about it. But the thing is how easy would it have been to watch Tennessee instead of picking the Word of God up? How easy would it have been to watch Kentucky instead of picking the Bible up? You see, too many times we leave the Bible put down, and what we're doing is we're telling God, I'm losing faith in you. We're telling God, I don't know if you can take control of it because I'm not putting full trust in your Word when I'm in the middle of a storm. But let me show you something. I'm going to get through these pretty quick. Master carest thou not that we perish. And he arose and rebuked the wind and the sea. He said unto the sea, Peace, be still. And the wind ceased, and there was a great calm. And he said unto them, Why are ye so fearful? How is it that you have no faith? We have seen the miracles God has done for you and I. Or for somebody else. Anybody here ever had a miracle in their life? Anybody here? Come on, get your hand up. Be proud of it. You ever had a miracle in your life? Well, if you want to know what they're all about, go talk to these people. You want to see the power of God, go talk to these people. Let them tell you what it's like to have a miracle done in their life. But he said, why? He said, how is it that you have no faith? How is it all the good things I have done for you that you cannot have faith in me? How is it when I woke you up this morning, I put your feet on the floor, you was in a warm house, food on your table, you had a warm car to drive to church, but you can't even praise my name? You say, how can you have no faith in me? I mean, I don't know why you would. You see, we're in a boat. And I love that song. With the master of the sea. We're in a boat with the man that can calm the stormy waters of life. We're in a boat with the man that can speak out to them. Now, he didn't say he's going to calm it the very second it comes out. If you notice, they had to fight it a little while. If you notice, it said their boat was full, but he said he calmed the sea for them. We are in the boat right now with the master of the sea. We are crossing life's sea, trying to get to heaven. And church, he's right there when we have faith in him. So many times we give it up. So many times we give it up. And we let the storms defeat us. All because we don't believe. All because we don't believe. Or we lose faith in it. And they feared exceedingly and said one to another, What manner of man is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him? Let me tell you about it. He was probably about 31, 32 years old when all this took place. At the age of 33, he took to an old cross, suffered the cruelest death you and I could ever imagine. I believe that when they beat him with the cat of nine tails and it said that he couldn't even carry his cross walking down the street, I believe it was because of the lack of blood that was in his body. He had bled out for you and and I. They hung him up on an old tree. Drove nails into his palms and into his feet. And left him there. They come back. They was going to break his legs. Because the way a crucifixion works is you either have to push up on your feet or have to hold up with your shoulders to breathe. Because the way you're out there, it actually starts collapsing your rib cage. And you literally cannot breathe. And that's where so much of the pain goes through, is because when you drive a nail in your feet and you're trying to hold your weight up, it just don't work out very well for you. But the way that they made sure they were dead was they would come through, if there was any life left in them, they would break their legs so that they couldn't hold themselves up anymore. So they come around and noticed that he had given up the ghost. And they took an old spear and they pierced him in the side. And the Bible said water and blood run out. You see, it was a new day. It was a new life that was coming out. He said when he gave up the ghost, he said that the veil in the temples that held the Spirit into the holiest of holies was rent in 20 from top to bottom. In other words, his Spirit was let out and we were allowed to get to know him. And then they had an old man named Joseph come up and ask for the body. They took him in a grave that he had wallered out for himself. Rolled a stone up in front of him. Come back some 3 days later, and he was standing outside. And he done all this just for you and I. He done all this so that when you're in that boat, when the storms of life are coming your way, he done all this so that you can turn around and say, Lord, I need your help. Don't give up. Don't be afraid of it. Don't get down like these disciples was and say, Lord, you're going to let me down. No, he's got control of it. Don't lose faith in him. The Bible said when he hung on the cross, he had 7 legions of angels. 6 legions of angels. 72,000 prepared to come down and take him off of that cross. And all he had to do was say, come on. He said, no. He said, in 2019, there's a young man named Darren Ray. It's going to need a storm calm down in his life. He said, I'm going to stay right here for him. He said, in 2019, there's a man named Terry Stratton that's going to need a storm calm down in his life. 72,000 angels, y'all stay up there. I got to do this for him. He done it for you and I. He done it for you and I. Because he said, I'm going away to create a home. It's not built by him. Everything's going to be perfect. It's going to be a street of gold. It's going to be mansions. It's going to be the river of life. He said, won't you get in the boat and come over with me? Won't you get in the boat and come over with me? It may not be an easy road, but I'll get you through it. It may not be a simple road, but I'll get you through it. He said, won't you come with me? Would you stand this morning as they get this song together? Crossing over. Crossing over. Are you ready? Are you ready to make your way to heaven? Are you ready to give it all to God? Are you ready to say, Lord, here am I. Make me who you want me to be so that I can ride the boat with you. So that I'm not afraid of the waves no more. I'm not afraid of the storms no more. Because I know He's in there with me. We're going to ask you, would you come?